What is up, my sweet owlets, and welcome to a video which I have done absolutely in the past. It was about 4 or 5 years ago where I did a video in which I showed you guys how I color eyes. And I'm redoing it because I color eyes a little bit differently now sometimes. And I wanted to show you guys how I do that. And you see there's 6 different eye colors right here. I'm doing the base colors right now just to save a bit of time. If you want to follow along with this video, I will have a link in the description down below with all of these eyes, and you can either, follow along, or you can use these techniques and, to color them the way that you want. I don't care. Use them for however you want. So these are all eyes of original characters, including the top one right here is my persona. I added her just because last time I did this video I didn't, and I read a comment that said that was the reason why they watched the video, and I ended up not showing it. So yeah, so I did all the base colors. As you can see, not that much of a variety, but you'll see once we color them in, they're gonna look so much more interesting. So I'm gonna start with my persona. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start with down here. If you don't recognize this eye shape, which is fine, this is Luca, who is my most popular character, and the eye right next to him is Vance, his relative in some way. So I'm going to start with them just because this is the most basic of basic coloring techniques that I use. So I have the base color down, and it's time to shade. I usually go for the shading next. So what some people do, I don't do this for no reason, I just don't like how this looks. But what some people do is they'll do the base color and then go up to the color wheel, and then they'll just kind of like drag it down and get a darker color, and then they'll use that for the shading like this. I personally don't do this just because I don't like how it looks. It looks muddy. I don't like those muddy colors. So when I do shading, I'll usually go for an adjacent color on the color wheel. So if I use gold or yellow, I'll usually use an orange, and usually I'll use like a really bright, is it variant or version of that color? But, so you see, this is how I'll usually leave it, like this. But with Luca and Vance, they are darker characters, not necessarily skin tones, which they are also, but like Luca, he's not he's not a very vibrant character. He's very just like, he doesn't want to be here. So I usually won't use a very bright orange. I usually use like kind of like this, like a muddy orange or like a pumpkin orange. I don't know the name of colors, but see, that's usually what I'll use for him. Vance, I'll do the same thing, but not as much, just because even though he's like an actually kind of bad character, like he's a bad guy, he's also just has a very bright personality. So I'll just leave it like that. So it's a vibrant but not as unvibrant. So I'll do that. And that is how, why is my voice like this? I don't know, man. But that is how I shade. And I do want to mention that you can use black for shading as well, depending on like the style you're going for or the vibes, the aesthetic of the picture. So let me show you what that would look like. I'm going to do that with Vance just because, he's kind of a scary guy. So if I use black for shading, look at how dramatic that looks. Like, it can look really good, and it doesn't look very good with my art just because I don't have a lot of experience using black for shading. But if I just do that, look at that. I think that looks super cool. I'll just leave it like that for now, okay? Now comes to the pupils. So depending on the character, I will either color in the pupils white, or I will color in the pupil using the base color. So like it would be gold for him, or I will do black. So for Luca, I usually color in his pupils black, but then I go with the base color and I'll add like a little bit of a highlight in the middle, just because if I just leave it as black, it makes his eyes look a bit dead, which he is kind of like a not a dead character, but but I want to add some life into his eyes, so that's what I'll usually do. And Vance, I haven't drawn him in a long time, so I don't know what I usually do with him. Let me add some black. Let me see. this definitely works for his character. So I'll leave it as black for Vance, and I'm not going to add the highlight just because I don't want to. He's just not a very good guy. So this is like the most basic of basic ways I color eyes. Sometimes I use cell shading. Sometimes I use like a more blended look. And when I do cell shading, sometimes I like to do this. I'll just add a little bit, a few lines of that. There we go. And so it's just a very interesting, like that. There we go. So that's the most basic of basic colorings. But let me go on to the next basic coloring, which is my persona. You have probably seen these eyes a lot if you like watch my videos, I guess. I don't know. Base color is this yellowish green. And like I said, for shading, I go for an adjacent color. So I go for either a more green or like a blue green. So I'm going to start with just green right now because I like to add a lot of colors to my persona's eyes. So I'll first add this like beautiful vibrant green, and then I'll add a more bluish green. So I'll do that, kind of not really blend that out, but I'll add these lines like this, and then I'll add more of a yellowy down here. Like I said, I go so extra for my persona's eyes. Like okay, there we go. So if I back out like that, that's what it looks like from far away. And then I like to add yellow around the pupil and like around these lines. And yeah, so just the way that I color eyes depends on the character. It depends on like their personality. So you see I left the pupil yellow. I usually go for white, especially with my persona like this. So I guess I'll just leave it like that for now. And then sometimes what I like to do is I'll go with a yellow with this colored eyes. And then I'll just do these like little, kind of these little highlights, and then I'll go with the base color, and I'll do the same thing but like for the shade right here. And as you can see, the yellow up here is not shaded. I usually leave it like that, but sometimes I do like to shade it in. It just depends on what I'm going for. Like I said, it's not a very consistent coloring style, okay? Like if you want consistency, I am not the person to go to. Okay, the next eye is down here, and this belongs to my character Riley. So Riley is a very fun character for me to color in and draw. And his eyes are very interesting to me because he has some very different colored eyes, I guess. So the base color is just like very blue-green color. It's very beautiful. But I like to add yellow to the bottom. And it's kind of like, and it does look like how I shade eyes, whereas the blue-green is like the shaded part. But that is not the case for Riley. I usually do like a more blendy look for this, just so that it's obvious that it's not supposed to be the shade. So that is actually his base color. And then I'll add the shade. So let me do some shading with like a more, like a darker blue, I guess, like this maybe. There we go. And then I'll just add some lines like this to make it obvious that this is supposed to be the shade color, like that. And then I'll get yellow. I want to make it more vibrant. Let me add it around this right here. And that is Riley's eye. So like I said, it's, you know, it's pretty similar to my personas, as in is a lot of different colors. But it's not necessarily like super adjacent colors. It's like I skipped over green and went to blue because I wanted to make it obvious that it's like different, you know? And he's the only one with these eyes just because he is in a different universe than my demons and my human characters. He is in an alien universe. Why is this not drawing? He's in an alien universe, and it's supposed to be implied that he is not fully human, and that is why I gave him these eye colors. What is this? I don't know. And if you want to know how I create or how I go about choosing my eye colors for my characters, I go by their personality, or their ethnicity, or their color palettes. So I do have their skin right here. That sounds weird when I say it like that. Their skin colors right here. So I do like to, and I have their hair right here, but it's like very, very sketchy hair. But I like to see how it all, fits together. So you can see that I'm going to get rid of the hair just because it's a bit in the way. But yeah, so I'm going to just keep the skin there. That sounds so weird when I say it like that. Okay, so this is Jules. He is an OC of mine, another original character. And I added him because his eyes are very, very soft. So like this might even be too saturated for him, but it's fine. We're gonna leave it like this. And for shading, I don't use a very different color. So that's even too dark. There we go, like this. I use very, very soft color for Jules just because I wanted him to be kind of just like this really gentle looking character, even though he's not that gentle. And then I use white for his pupils. And you can see also the way I drew his eyes. My line art is very bold. Even like look at the line art in my persona's eyes versus the line art in his eyes. It's very thin, just very fragile looking, very soft. He has beautiful pillowy eyes. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. So I also yeah. And then I usually go for kind of like go for white, and then I kind of go around the eye like that, just a little bit, so it looks like his eyes like lighten up. And let me just bring down the opacity for that. There we go. And like I said, this is because he's a very gentle character, but just looking at this, you can use this. Looks kind of creepy, honestly, and I'm down for that. Like I like that, and I feel like you can use this type of eye for like a zombie or like a undead character, just like it lost all of its color, you know. I don't know, I really like that. And now I'm gonna go for the character under him is actually his boyfriend. So this is Mace. I don't draw him very often either. And I added him because he has dark colored eyes. If you've noticed, most of my characters don't have dark eyes. So Mace, I'm adding his eyes because even though he has dark eyes, he's a very lively character. You can't tell by his eye shape. He's super chill, but he's also a very lively character. I don't think that makes sense. He's chill, but also lively. I wanted to show you guys that even if you have characters with dark eyes, they don't have to look all scary like this. This, you can leave it like this, by the way. This, look how creepy that looks. You use that to your advantage. If you have a creepy character or a character that's just like out of his mind, he lost his mind, or he's just going through it, like that looks really cool. But yeah, I wanted to show you that you can have a very lively, beautiful, vibrant, dark eyes. So I usually use this color for like the pupil, and I'll go for like a more saturated color for a highlight. Let me use, what brush do I want to use? So as you can see, I'm adding just a ton of highlights to his eye to make him look more of a lively character. I want to use the base color more, so I'm going to go over this like random circly thing I added into his eyeball for whatever reason, over this, and then over or around the pupil like this, just so that it pops out more. And you don't have to use the base color. You know, a lot of people have more than one color in their eye, you know? So like with him, I think it would be really nice. I'm not going to do it for his character, but like a gold color. I like using gold a lot around pupils. So, I mean, not like that. That doesn't look very good, but you know, like this, like that, you know, like this. Oh, beautiful, but not really. But see how beautiful his eyes are? Look, they're so beautiful. But I also want to mention that you don't need to have characters with super lively eyes if you don't want. And I should have added Emery here because he also has dark eyes, but they're very different. So I added like a layer on top of this. I'm gonna make it a bit darker. So Emery is another character that I have who has eyes that are almost pitch black like this. And I'll usually add kind of like a highlight thing like this, just to show that he's not actually dead, like that. This would be Emery's eye. Whoops, what happened there? So Emery has eyes like this. And as a part of his character, just because Emery is very just like, he's very, not bland, but he doesn't show a lot of emotion, but he's a very nice guy. And I wanted to show his eyes to be kind of like that, like his personality. And, you know, his friends tease him about having like dead eyes, zombie eyes. So that's a part of his character as well. But Emery's not here. This is Mace. So there we go. And then I want to show you how I do highlights in eyes. Usually for like highlights, I'll do a pie-shaped highlight. You've probably, you know what I'm talking about if you've seen my art long enough, but I'll just go over all the layers and then do this like triangle cutout like that. And then I'll go over with like the shading color and I'll just outline it a bit. That's too heavy. We do like that. And it's not very clean. I don't really care if it's super clean because far away you can't really tell. But that's usually how I do a highlight. Sometimes I'll go over and I'll do like another one that's just a straight line like this. And again, it depends on the character, right? So like my persona, I'll do that a lot. Riley, you know, Mace. I'll do that with Mace just because I feel like I really want a highlight in his eye. So let me just do this. There you go. Sometimes I'll even do a little one like in the middle of the eye like that. That's really cool. With characters like Luca and Vance, I won't do a big one just because they're just, you know, they're not very lively characters. So for Luca, I'll just do like this little one like this. I'll add a little one like that. And then Vance, the same thing, just like this. So you can't really see it too well, which is why I usually do this right here, like that. And there we go. I added all of the highlights. As you can see, it's, you know, like the amount of highlights depends on like the character's personality. The size of the highlight depends. But yeah, that is how I color eyes. I hope that was easy to follow. If not, I am so sorry. But if you have any other questions about how I color eyes or how I draw them, please let me know and I will hopefully answer them or make a new video on them. And yeah, as you can see, the shape of the eyes also depend on the character as well, their personality and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please be good owlets. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. And yeah, bye!